All right, ready for the first critical thinking activity. So, this is going to give you an explanation of what a SWOT analysis is so you can complete the SWOT analysis for your critical thinking activity. So, as a business owner, as a retail manager, as a designer, as a buyer, the most important thing one of the most important things that you can do is a SWOT analysis. And the SWOT analysis can be done on an item, on a category, on a industry, on a target market, on a customer. You can do one on yourself, right? So the SWOT analysis is super important in business. Hopefully, if you take you'll take the introduction to business class, you'll get this again. And definitely, if you take entrepreneurship, you'll be doing SWOT analysis. It's actually a component of a business plan. So that's why I think it's really important for you to do this critical thinking activity because it'll help you further. Like I said in the lecture, I feel like everybody who loves fashion has an idea to how to start their own business or do their own thing. So the SWOT analysis is super important. So this is what the SWOT analysis is. Again, it's an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And when we look at this grid on the screen, this is generally how you see a SWOT analysis. You see it as a grid. You see the S and the W together, and you see at the top, and you see the O and the T together at the bottom. You see the S underneath you see the S over the O and the W over the T. And if you look at the grid, the reason is because they are related to each other, right? So the top row, the S and the W are things that are attributes of the organization. So these are internal. So think of it personally like these are the characteristics of the business, right? So these are the things that the business on the strength side that they do really well, right? They do really well, and these things are helpful for them achieving their objective. And remember, we in the lecture we talked about that diversity, right? The diversity and competition in business, and maybe it's the competition thing that's really helpful, right? So they have the great best prices, they have customer loyalty, they have great service, right? What are the things? What are the strengths? So you're gonna tell me at least two things that your company does well. I want three. I would like three, but give me at least two to three things that your company does really well. So what are their strengths, right? What's also internal to the organization are their weaknesses. So again, if we talk about our personal characteristics, right? So we know we have things that we're really great at and things that we struggle with. Oftentimes it's time management, right? But what are the weaknesses? What are the things that the company does well? Are they poor at marketing? Is the customer service horrible, right? People of Walmart, right? Not that Walmart is horrible, but people of Walmart is horrible, right? So what are the things that are harmful to them reaching their goal? Okay, so these are things that are internal. These are characteristics. So if the business was a person, these would be characteristics, right? The O and the T are things that are external to the business. So these are things that are almost outside of their control, but are in the control. Okay, so this is what I mean. When we talk about opportunities, right? External opportunities. What else should this company be doing? Right? So what else should they be doing that would help them reach the goal? Is it sizing? Is it pricing? Is it location? Is it too many locations, right? So what are the opportunities they have? So those things are going to be helpful. And the threats are things that are going to be harmful and external to the organization. So really a lot of the threats they have absolutely no control over. Many companies, it's economics, right? It's population. Fortunately, we live in an area where population is still growing. There are some areas where population is decreasing. The economy is always a threat. And where we are right now, that's a threat for every company, right? You can use that, but you got to tell me why you think it's a threat. All right. So these are the components of the SWOT. So these are the things that I want you to be thinking about. So strengths are the strengths and the weaknesses are things that are internal to the company that they have control over. And the opportunities and threats are things that are in the environment. And remember, we've talked about the environments. We've had three environments that we've talked about. So pull out some of those things that were in the environments that we've talked about in chapter 1, 2, and 3, and use those when you're developing your opportunities and your opportunities or threats. All right, again, SWOT analysis, right? Internal factors, strengths and weaknesses are things that are internal to the organization. Opportunities and threats are things that are presented by the environments that we've already talked about for the organization. Okay, again, SWOT analysis can be carried out for a product or a place or an industry or a person. For here, we're doing it for a business. It involves objectives of the business. And again, it's identifying the internal and external factors that are favorable and unfavorable. So that helpful line that we saw vertically and that harmful line. And again, the SWOT is really important because it helps the planning process, right? If you understand the things that you're good at and your things that you're not so good at, and the areas of opportunity and the things that could derail you, it helps you plan better. All right, so again, here are some of the external factors within an organization. You can use some of these, or you can develop your own. Again, there's no wrong answer because it's your opinion, right? It's your opinion. And then opportunities and threats. Again, these are external forces. So trends and that all we talked about, that social, cultural, political, economic, current events, definitely what's happening in the world right now, what's happening in society. So these are all these are some of the things that you can take into consideration. You are more than welcome. There are many, many more. These are just a handful of examples that I've given, but you can use some of these as a baseline when you're developing your SWOT analysis for your company.